This is WSOE 89.3 Elon in Burlington, and you're listening to Good Vibes. This is our very first show, and I'm your host, Sam Porozok, and it's time for some good vibrations. Welcome back to Good Vibes with Sam Porozok. That was Good Vibrations by Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, and until I make a custom intro, that's going to function as my theme song. Now, Good Vibrations, it's a song about having fun, not needing other substances, and that's not exactly the theme of this show, but my goal here with Good Vibes is to send a little more positivity out into the world. And, to do that, each week I'm going to have a positive theme or message, along with songs that match that, and I'm also going to talk about just some general things I like that kind of match that theme. So our first theme of the year, which is starting today, is New Beginnings. Last year I was a regular guest on this station for some of my friends' shows, but we're starting anew, and I'm branching out with my own shows. And so to start that off, we're doing all songs that kind of relate to New Beginnings, and the first one will be Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra. Hey, that was Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra. It was written by Jeff Lynne, and it was actually, I was surprised to find, it was literally about a new sunny day Jeff Lynne had after weeks of being in a place where there were storms and fog. I assume there was a deeper metaphor there, but apparently not. I like this song. It kind of gives me a vibe of renewal, of new things. It was used as the intro song in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which was a fantastic introduction. And speaking of weather, it was very chilly this morning, I found, and I'm happy to hear that, although I'm a little sad because I won't be able to wear my shorts anymore. But that means that it's a sign of the changing seasons. So one of my favorite things about New Beginnings is, tangentially related here, but seasonal shops, seasonal varieties of things. Back home in Allentown, New Jersey, we had an ice cream shop called Swall Dairy, and once a year, they would, once the ice cream season started, they would open up and everyone would get free ice cream for the day, which was very nice. Cannot complain there. Other seasonal things that I like, pumpkin flavors are popping up everywhere. I hear that Oak House has apple cider now, which I'm very excited about. Makes me glad to be here at Elon. And speaking of Elon, we all go to college here. We have to move out of our homes, and with that smooth transition, here's Moving Out by Billy Joel. Welcome back to Good Vibes with Sam Porozok. I'm your host, Sam Porozok, and that was Moving Out by Billy Joel, also known as Anthony's song. Now, in researching this song a little bit, I found out that, according to Billy Joel, Anthony isn't any real person that he wrote the song for, but it's more of a metaphorical person. And Joel said that he's every Irish, Polish, and Italian kid trying to make a living in the U.S., and the song kind of addresses the ideas of, it's not worth it just throwing your back out for money. There's more to life than that. And on the topic of moving out, actually, my next subject I'm going to cover with New Beginnings is college, because college has been a very interesting, fun experience for me. It's everyone thinks of it as this new opportunity, and I totally agree. It's like a total do-over from high school, and I've got to say I have had a much better time than high school so far. And it's nice because, you get here, you can be anybody, you can make new friends, you can try new things. And something that's really cool is you're totally on even playing field in terms of knowing and meeting people. Because when I got to my high school district, I went kind of middle school, and I felt like everyone kind of already knew each other. And it was sort of hard to break into friend groups and stuff, and I just always felt like I was trying a little bit too hard. So college has just been a nice opportunity, because you start out where everyone else is. And you can totally change what you do, what you're like, and you can start a new routine. And speaking of which, we're going to be playing, up next, New Routine by Fountains of Wayne. And we're back. That was New Routine by Fountains of Wayne. Now, if that band name sounds familiar, that is because they're the same exact group that wrote Stacy's Mom, which is a very, very catchy song, but that has nothing to do with this week's theme. What I like about New Routine is it's very mellow. It kind of tells stories about starting again. There's these vignettes of these people who get sick of ironically, instead of getting homesick, they get sick of their homes, and then they leave and they go to new places. They go to fancy new places, and then eventually they do get homesick, and they realize that regardless of what you're chasing after, you do have to come home every now and then. And another situation, I suppose, where you always come home eventually is when you go on vacation. That's an interesting tie-in. What I really like about vacations and what they have to do with new beginnings is the beginnings of vacations, the very first day, especially, I like when you go somewhere new and you get there kind of 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So you haven't really had a chance to explore too much. You've seen the hotel maybe you've seen where you're staying, the surroundings a little bit. You do maybe one group activity or something, but then you go to bed and you're super pumped. You know, you've got a big day ahead of you. You don't even you can't even sleep sometimes. But eventually, you know, you'll come back home. But in the meantime, it's a fun little thing, and so I really enjoy those beginnings there. And when you leave for vacations, it truly is a departure. Especially for those longer trips. So here is It's a Departure by John Roderick and the Long Winters. That was It's a Departure by John Roderick and the Long Winters. And what I really like about this song is that it's the theme song to my favorite podcast, My Brother and Me, which is just a wonderful show where three brothers get together and they answer fan advice questions, and they just give very, very bad advice, but it's a very funny show. And what's really interesting is these guys are just super charismatic, and they really care about what they're doing, and they really care about each other. And because of this, they've been able to branch out and do a lot of other shows. So their first show was My Brother and Me, and then they did The Adventure Zone with their father. And that is actually very cool because it's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast where they go on these adventures, and their brother, Griffin, who's the dungeon master, he does very good stories. He really knows how to weave a tale. And you know, speaking of podcasts, while we're in this vein, some other stuff I've been getting into. I've been really enjoying this show, Dungeons and Daddies, which is another Dungeons and Dragons podcast about these guys. They play as fathers who get sucked into another world on their way to their son's soccer match. So it's very funny because they all play as kind of dad archetypes, like the coach dad, the hippie rock star dad, the vegan granola kind of dad. And I really appreciate when people, you know, they get together and you almost go on an adventure vicariously through them. And I think that that's a lot of fun. And actually, speaking of which, so as I have announced earlier, my idea with this show is I kind of want to spread positivity, just do a little bit of feel-good music, and one of my big inspirations there was the show Wonderful with Griffin and Rachel McElroy, in which each week this couple gets together and they just kind of talk about things they like and good things that have been going on in their life that week, and they just kind of cheer each other up and have a good time, and that's the vibe I aspire to achieve. I think that would be a lot of fun if I could really evoke that kind of emotion out of my listeners. And yeah, I think that would be great. Now, another one of my subjects here that I really enjoy is in terms of new beginnings, when you start a new video game, but especially video games where you go on an adventure, you know. You're usually a kid, and some great big destiny comes in front of you, and, you know, you're told you have to save the world, and you've got this hidden amazing potential, and it's all up to you. And you kind of decide how your adventure unfurls, and I've always really liked the idea of this big, grand adventure, and you're not really sure what's going to happen, but it could be anything. And some of the games I've been playing lately that really have this feel are, you know, The Legend of Zelda, where you play as Link. You're usually awoken from some deep slumber, or you're just a kid in a village and you're told you've got to save the world from Ganondorf. Kirby, where you just play as this cute little pink puffball, but you start out and he's just having his peaceful adventures when he has to go stop some evil king. And Earthbound, which is actually a very interesting game from the 80s, I believe. You play as Ness, who's just kind of a normal kid until a meteor crashes in his town, and he's told that he is the chosen one, and he's suddenly thrown into this big adventure, and he's told he has to save the world, and it's very bizarre, and it's got a very interesting feel, and I just really enjoy that kind of thing. It's very cool. Yeah, I dig that. Now, there's not really any connection here, but another theme I really like is the idea of, you know, forgiveness and starting again despite maybe having messed up. And a song that really encompasses this is one of my favorite songs, actually. It's California Kids by Weezer, so I hope you enjoy it. Welcome back. This is Sam Porozok on Good Vibes, and that was California Kids by Weezer. Weezer is a very good band. My friend Dan got me into them. I really enjoy them. They've got a lot of good, mostly positive themes. But now we're going to talk about home a little bit. It's not exactly related to beginnings, but we're just kind of going where my train of thought takes us. And there's a lot of things I miss about home. Home being Allentown, New Jersey. I have a lot of friends back home. I've got a very cool friend group. Shout out to, Heather, Aaron, Jake, all those guys. I love you. I miss you. And, it is kind of sad being away from home so much because I do miss those guys, and I miss some of my favorite places there. Like, I miss the comic shop, and I miss the pizza store, and I miss the ice cream shop. But it's all right, It's okay to be sad about these things sometimes. It's totally expected to miss stuff. But, I stay positive by remembering that I'll be back eventually, and I'll get to catch up with these people, and it'll be so much better when I see them, And on the subject of catching up with old friends, here is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant by Billy Joel. Welcome back to Good Vibes. I am Sam Porozok, and that was Scenes from an Italian Restaurant by Billy Joel. And as I've discovered, a very convenient time filler. I really dig this song by Billy Joel. I know it's one of his longer ones, but I love the way particularly that he says, "Yeah, rock and roll!" And I always sing this one along in the song. I always sing this along in the car, rather, with my father. It's a fun one. We always I always mime the saxophone. He does not, because that would be dangerous to do in a car. But it's a lot of fun, And the song has kind of like a semi-sad overtone to it about how this couple gets a divorce and they can't go back. But, the thing about not being able to go back, it just means that your only option is to move forward. And with that, I'm going to be playing my final song here for you guys tonight. It is Starlight Brigade by Tupperware Remix Party, featuring Dan Avidan. And I will not be coming back after I play this, so I'll just tell you a little bit about it. It is kind of a coming-of-age story told within a span of about 5 minutes. It's just about, it's this kind of sci-fi techno feel to it, where someone takes to the stars and they discover their destiny. And it has been a lot of fun doing my first show here, DJing for you guys. Hopefully I cheered you up a little bit. It brought just a little more positivity into the night. It has been a pleasure. I've been DJ Sam, and I hope you guys have a great night.